Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are exploring one of the most debated global topics. Will India get veto power in United Nations Security Council UNSC? With the fresh updates from 79th General Assembly UNGA in September 2024, we will delve into the historical journey of India's journey for a permanent seat, the latest developments and what future holds for India. Get ready for an in-depth look into the India's diplomatic history. What is veto power? First, let's clarify the concept of veto power. Currently, only the P5 nations, United States, UK, Russia, China and France have these veto power in the UNSC. This allows them to block any important resolution even if the majority of the member states support it. This gives the P5 significant control over major international decisions on peace, security, and global conflicts. India has been pushing for a permanent seat at the UNSC for decades. With hopes of acquiring veto power, let's explore how India reached this point. India's historical path. India's bid for permanent seat and veto power has a long history, beginning even before the formation of UN. 1945, founding member of the UN. India was among the original signatories of UN Charter when the UN was formed in 1945. Since then, India has been an active voice in global diplomacy. 1950s and 60s, early influence. In the 1950s, India was deeply involved in non-aligned movement (NAM), pushing for an decolonization and representing the developing world. India was a significant leader among the post-colonial nations, seeking more representation for these countries in global governance. In the early 1960s, both United States and Soviet Union reportedly approached India with offers to join UNSC as a permanent member. India, under Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, declined these offers, citing a desire to focus on regional stability and avoid global entanglements during the Cold War. 1990s, India pushes for UNSC reform. As the Cold War ended, India renewed its bid for UNSC reform. It highlighted the need for an expanded and more representative Security Council that includes countries like India, Germany, Brazil and Japan. 1998, nuclear power state. In 1998, India conducted a nuclear test establishing itself as a nuclear power. Although these tests led to sanctions from Western countries, they positioned India as a key player in global security dynamics. 2005, G4 nations and global support. In 2005, India formed the G4 alliance with Germany, Brazil and Japan, calling for a reform of the UNSC to better represent the world's political realities. India's role in G4, combined with support from major powers like France and UK, strengthened its case for permanent membership. 2011-2012, non-permanent seat. India served as a non-permanent member of UNSC during 2011 and 2012 and also 2021 to 2022, showcasing its ability to contribute effectively in global peace and security discussions. Key recent developments at UNGA 2024. Fast forward to 2024 September. The 79th UN General Assembly provided a crucial platform for India's push for UNSC reform. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken reaffirmed the United States' support for India to become a permanent member of UNSC. Blinken emphasized the importance of reforming the Council to reflect today's geopolitical realities. French President Emmanuel Macron once again backed India's bid, along with Brazil and Japan. He called for a more diverse and representative UNSC that addresses the challenges of 21st century. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer also supported India's inclusion as a permanent member and stressed the need for African representation, reflecting a more equitable global structure. However, critical point remains. None of these leaders explicitly addressed the veto power for new members which remains as an issue. The roadblocks. While global support for India's permanent seat is growing, significant roadblocks remain. China's opposition. China remains the biggest hurdle. With tensions over border issues, trade, and regional power, China has consistently blocked India's attempts to secure a permanent seat. Veto power debate. A growing debate focuses on whether veto power should be expanded. Critics argue that adding more countries with veto rights could slow down UNSC decision making. Expanding veto power may require a much large reform of how the UNSC operates. Regional opposition. Pakistan. India's long-time rival continues to oppose its bid, citing ongoing disputes, particularly over Kashmir. Future prospects. Will India get veto power? Looking ahead, the question remains, will India get veto power anytime soon? India's global rise. With India being the world's largest democracy and fifth largest economy, the momentum for its inclusion on the UNSC continues to grow. India is crucial to global conversations on climate change, technology, and trade, making it a strong candidate for a permanent seat. UNSC reforms may take time. Despite strong support from countries like US, France, and UK, experts suggest that UNSC reform, particularly expanding veto power, could take a decade or more. China's opposition and debate on veto power will be major obstacles. G20 presidency. India's India's 2023 G20 presidency was diplomatic success, where India showcased its leadership on global economic and climate issues. Such events enhance India's global profile, putting pressure on the UNSC to include India in its ranks. Conclusion. To conclude, India's journey to permanent seat on UNSC has seen significant progress, but the road to veto power remains challenging. With backing from major global players like US and France, and as India's global influence continues to rise, the future looks promising. However, challenges from China, the veto power debate, and the need for wider UNSA reform mean it may take time before India fully achieves its goal. What do you think? Will India get veto power soon? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video informative, make sure you like it, share it, and subscribe for more updates on global politics.